Alex Lee, welcome to the weekend briefing.
Thank you for having me.
So I noticed that you were school captain in both your high school and junior school. We're going to start there.
Where is this information?
Were you not?
Is it out there?
Is it
No,
not
it's
true?
I just don't know when
is
I
out
put that
there.
into the public sphere.
I know, it
it's
is
so embarrassing.
It's wonderful. And I want to know what the most school captain thing is about you now. Because I believe a school captain never stops being a school captain, even
That's
when
right.
they leave the school.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's hugely damning that I was, just a goody two-shoes.
Yeah.
Still such a rule follower, terrified of getting in trouble. Yeah.
You don't park when it's, only 15 minutes. You don't stay for an hour and go, I'm just going to give it a crack.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rule follower. And
yeah.
this
deeply uncool.
this rule follower went into journalism, but you've kind of pivoted away not substantially.
Oh, yeah.
But tell me how school captain goes to be a journalist and then it's like, you know what? No, I'm going to try my hand at comedy writing and satire.
That's funny because I went back to my school to give a little speech quite recently and all the teachers were like, oh, you're a comedian? Like, I didn't see that for you. So I did always enjoy performing though. Like I did a lot of public speaking and stuff like that at school.
Yeah.
And so that, when you're a kid, that just seems like an obvious path to go down. You think, oh, journalism, yeah, I can do my newsreader voice, in front of a large group of people in that way. And you don't really, I guess, know what other options are there for you. So, I studied media and communications and then got very distracted at university doing theatre sports and
doing the fun
improv
stuff
and comedy, all the fun stuff, the drama society, and sort of had a lot of fun doing that. But then, probably the school captain in me went, no, I did a journalism degree. I should go and work in journalism. So I got a job at the ABC as a runner in the newsroom and worked as a producer on ABC News and did a bit of news reading there. And and I still love it. But when I got my first job at The Roast, which was a ABC nightly comedy show, I was...
But how does that happen? How do you go from being a runner and a producer?
True. Well, I was always doing comedy. Like, I kept doing stand-up and improv and everything outside of that world. I was doing, a storytelling show called Story Club, which we were doing at the Giant Dwarf Theatre, which was run by the Chaser guys. So it was still very much in that world. And, this was a satirical news show and was too much fun to pass up. So I auditioned and got on that show and, sort of had that moment of realization being in a writer's room that's where I wanted to be and that you still had to, very much use journalistic skills when you work in satire.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because you can't just be, getting your facts wrong if you're calling other people out for doing the wrong thing and being hypocrites and lying in public. So you do really have to keep those journalistic skills sharp. Yeah.
And who were your idols in media or journalism growing up?
Oh,
Or did you have anybody that you thought, you know what, I could be that, or that reminds me of me, or?
Oh, that sounds terrible. I remember, watching Current Affair and seeing like Yana.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, she's amazing. And, working at the ABC, there was still Kerry O'Brien was still there and all the sort of big wigs news there growing up. So, they were all, I guess, but I to be honest with you, I never really felt like that was my passion, working in journalism, and I could see people who had it and had that real drive. And I sort of knew that I was vaguely competent at it, but maybe it wasn't the place for me. And I had some great opportunities working in the newsroom. I worked at BuzzFeed when that launched in Australia.
Yes. R.I.P. BuzzFeed
politics.
Australia.
R.I.P. Yes, yeah. And I had some amazing opportunities there. I got to go and they just sent me off. I wanted to do a story about climate change in the Pacific Islands. So they're like, all right, off you go. Like, we've got infinity money. We're BuzzFeed and it's 2015. Have an Apple phone and everything else while you're at it. So I got to do that. And even then I was like, oh, I know there are people. I've got friends who would kill for this job.
Yeah.
And I'm just not. it's just not my calling. So yeah.
So I also noticed that you were a writer for Rove, and at first I was like, wow, that's like, Rove Live, iconic TV,
How old
huge.
is she?
Yeah, like also like when did this happen?
Yeah.
I know that you're Asian and your skin's amazing. But no, what Rove did you work for?
Oh, so Channel 10 did this pilot week thing, and they wanted to try doing a live Saturday night show. So bringing back that Saturday night variety entertainment show about 6 years ago, even more now. And luckily I was asked to come and be a writer and performer on that show. And they were still very much sort of figuring out what the format was. And it was, a dream come true for me because I grew up, idolizing Rove and loving those shows that he made. And it's just, the reality of it is that the TV landscape has changed so much since then. And it's, that's not what people are sitting down to do together, as a family on a Saturday night. No one's really been able to sort of crack that. So
yeah, because it used to be, hey, it's Saturday many, many moons ago. And then Rove Live, I don't know what night that was. Was that a Friday night in its heyday?
I think it was a Tuesday.
Okay.
And but yes, I remember being like, I have to watch it because what am I going to talk about with my friends on Wednesday if I miss the what the?
Yeah.
So I think at least in one of its iterations it was on a weeknight. So yeah, it was a big challenge and they were trying lots of different things and it was quite short-lived in the end. They pulled it after I think 2 episodes, which was quite heartbreaking.
Ouch,
but
a reality of comedy, right? Or performance.
Absolutely. And, I've been involved in a lot of great shows that have been cancelled, I maintain. It wasn't my fault. But, getting out the red string and the board, you might be linking me possibly as some sort of television show serial killer. But no, I maintain it's not my fault.
Because you've worked on so many, like what the FAQ, the roast, the checkout.
Yeah, all wonderful shows that no longer exist. But it's I always talk about other comedians my age that we really came up at the sort of end of the golden age of TV. There's networks are a lot less willing to take risks on young people because they know that the audience is aging and they're scared to have losses in the way that they didn't used to be, and so it's really tricky to move up in the industry. So I mean a lot of the shows I worked on were on for many years
and they did
very
really well. Very, very well.
And very, very grateful for all the opportunities. But it really does, it does something to your brain chemistry where if you never believe that something is real until it's basically finished being on air. And then you're like, okay, now I can say that I was on this show.
Well, you're also on the feed on SBS.
Yes.
And that still exists in...
That still exists in digital form. Yeah. And that was such an incredible show. And it was, especially when I was there, maybe one of the only shows that was doing weekly comedy. So I was doing it with Vic Zerps and Jenna Owen, Michael Hing, Cameron James, and the comedy section was only just the end of the show. So it was mostly a brilliant current affairs documentary show.
I think the only other one was Mark Humphries at 7:30. Was he doing the skit at that time?
Yes, towards the end of it. He was, but otherwise that was it, there was really nothing else going on, and we're not even a comedy show. We're a current affairs show, but this is, one of the only opportunities for comedians to be doing it. And, if they do want to be generating the next group of talented people, you need to be giving people the opportunity to try new things and to, not be doing maths level ratings every night. People need to be able to find their voice in television, such a specific format, and we were very grateful to have that and to be able to do things that people liked and shared.
Beyond television, there were often viral online clips of satire and comedy sketches. There really wasn't anything else happening in that era similar to what you guys were doing at the feed.
It was Yeah, and it was also that crazy thing where we very much wanted our sketches to go viral online, and most of the time when they did, people didn't even know they came from a television show.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our the EP of our show is going, okay, well, this is actually on broadcast television, and we know that the main audience is women in their 60s.
Yeah,
So can you not alienate them completely in this sketch? And we go, but we want people to watch it online. So there was always that tension.
Yeah, what about the tension, is particularly with satire, of being able to take risks and push boundaries and hold people accountable, but then the weight of a network or an organisation behind you and defending you is really important. And the Chaser guys for many, many years did the most crazy and hilarious sketches, which got them in all sorts of trouble. In 2020, there was a segment about Alan Jones's retirement from radio, which his lawyers say that portrayed the broadcaster as a racist, a misogynist, a liar, and a pedophile. What was that process like for you? Because I always believe if you're pissing someone off like Alan Jones, you're doing a good job. That's kind of my litmus test. But is it terrifying in a comics world to have the might of, defamation pushed against you?
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a very scary experience, and I was very lucky to have the backing of the network 100%. And we knew. So it was when he announced his retirement, and basically I was just saying things that were very much already in the public sphere.
Yeah, and all things I've called him.
Yeah, and that the monologue had been like lawyered to death even before it went to air, and it was, it was very scary. As you would know, like just even the thought that there are lawyers going through everything that you've ever done, whether or not it's public or something that you thought was private, and they ended up, we didn't end up going to court, which I was very relieved about, but it's terrifying. And I think even if those cases don't end up going to court, they do have a sort of freezing effect, because people see that, he's going to sue. I'm not even going to mention him. Like people just think, it does end up having a self-censoring effect on the media environment, where you go, well, I'm going to mention this person's name and they're probably going to come after me. So what's the point? I could just, it is just comedy. I'll just make a joke about something else. But I think that, especially when the networks are very risk averse as well, it ends up having, unfortunately, it ends up with a sort of pretty boring media
more
landscape.
Safe, right?
More safe.
Yeah.
And then people wonder why people aren't tuning into traditional broadcasting, networks. And you think, well, maybe because everyone's a little bit scared of saying something that's going to get them sued. So yeah, it's I'm not really sure the way out of it, really. I guess independent media.
Yes, and I mean, it sounds like a nice notion, but if someone like an Alan Jones, or as well-resourced as that, is going to come after an independent media with whatever lawsuit, it's really hard to defend. Like it can, and I think that's the tension. Like people want independent voices, they're going online. Well, it's good to hear that SBS backed you and the matter resolved. Onto something almost as terrifying as having a litigious, angry, horrible man try and sue you. Navigating the online world of babies and the stuff that they try and tell you need to buy. Let's talk about... No, I'll do that again. Well, onto something almost as terrifying as a very wealthy, angry, awful man trying to sue you, and that is trying to navigate becoming a mum in the world of social media. You've got 2 little boys.
Yes.
And what is it that's so terrifying about the influx of what you're told you need to buy?
Yes, it is this crazy thing that happens to your algorithm. I spend a lot of time on my phone, and when you don't have kids, it's just this perfect little, curated feed of things that you want to buy, and like flowers or whatever it is that you're into. And then the second you become pregnant, I think your phone knows maybe
Yeah.
even before you do. And you just enter this, your algorithm is just warped into this world of baby must-haves and things you need to buy and clothes you should be wearing. And then the world of mum-fluencers, which is a terrifying word and even more terrifying in real life. And the cumulative effect of it is that you never sort of stop thinking about what you should or shouldn't be doing as a parent. And I think it's especially true if you're a mother, because there's that space is very sort of women dominated. And yeah, it just becomes this, usually your phone time is when you're sitting down to relax, but you actually you never switch off thinking, because your whole feed is like, oh, this is the parenting technique that you should be doing. And if you are saying good boy or good girl to your child, you're doing irreparable damage to them, and you're not making them be self-sufficient if you're praising them too much. And then there's something else, and it's like, if you're not doing this type of sensory play with your child every day,
they're going to become a murderer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And all these baby must-have products that you should have, and it's so overwhelming when you sit down to sort of go, okay, what do I actually need? And then it starts when you're pregnant, and then it just seems to continue. I don't know. It's still going for me. So
it's the kids' crap economy. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've bought that you were convinced you needed for a baby or a child, and you have it and you're like, why on earth did I buy this?
Probably there's like a bottle warmer product where it's sort of marketed as this convenient thing to get your baby's bottle at the perfect temperature wherever you are.
Yeah.
And it was just, and it's so heavy. I don't even think I ended up using it once because I couldn't figure out how to charge it. It was, hundreds of dollars. And then I just thought, why? I had a system. I already had a system where I just carried a bit of hot water around, or, God forbid the baby has a milk that is below the optimal temperature, and it was fine. But you get convinced that this is something that you need to have, and if you're not doing it, you're failing them in some way. So something I talk about a lot with my friend Hamira, who is also, she's got a 1-year-old now, and we just started talking about this sort of world that you're exposed to. And when you're a mum, it's so isolating a lot of the time, so you're just sitting there looking at all this stuff that you should be buying while you're breastfeeding, and spending all this money ordering things online. And it's
honestly, I can say a purchase at 3 a.m. while you're breastfeeding is probably not something that you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was the genesis of your new podcast?
Yes.
Baby Shoes?
It's called Baby Shoes.
Well, why is it called Baby Shoes?
It's called Baby Shoes.
Well, firstly, babies don't need shoes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Nail on the head.
Okay.
Yeah,
so-
yeah. I mean, it's always one of those things that before you have kids, like I remember being like, oh, look at these tiny little pair of Adidas. They're adorable. I can't wait to be a mummy. And then you become a mum, and you've got all these baby shoes, and you're like, what am I doing? They're babies. I don't need these. And then so that was part of it. And it is, when they do start walking and you're buying baby shoes, it is just a minefield. Like, you get these ads in your feed that are like, if your child wears these shoes that don't have the proper wide toe box, then their toes are going to be squashed and you're going to ruin their development. And, you need to buy these flexible ones, which look at this certain shape, and they just happen to cost $99 for, something that
they'll wear for 2 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're going, but if I don't, like, it makes the stakes feel so high. If I'm not buying these shoes, then I'm going to ruin my child for life. And so you end up, forking out all this money on these ridiculous shoes, and then they're just the functional ones. And then, you can get the R.M. Williams kangaroo leather baby booties that cost $149. And
oh, that's wild.
Yeah, dress your child like a little investment banker.
And what else do you... On the podcast, what else do you talk about other than wild, expensive shit your baby doesn't need? Or is there so much of it that takes up?
Oh, there's so much. I mean, everything sort of boils down to making mums feel very guilty that they're not doing enough, or very anxious. There's a crazy one which is called the Windy. Have you heard about this? Do you have kids, Antoinette?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mine are older, 12 and 10.
Oh, great. So this is like a fairly new one, and it's like this tube that you put if your baby has gas, if they're colicky. It's like this tube that you put up their bum.
Okay.
And it's meant to sort of, it makes this little noise, and it's meant to sort of.
So the own little like home colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds legit.
Yeah. So they pass gas and stops them crying, and this is just one of these things where you're putting something up your baby's bum, thinking, is this necessary? Do we need to do this? I mean, there's the wipes warmers as well.
Yeah. Having said that, have a think about a child at like whatever time in the morning in winter having cold wipes slapped on their bum.
I know.
I mean, it's not lovely, but it's not going to kill them.
Yeah. Well, I did actually look into that one, and it turns out that they're not great because, you do feel so guilty that you're making, you're waking your baby up in the middle of the night. But, it's warm and it's moist, which is just, a perfect
so they're okay.
ground for bacteria.
Oh, for bacteria.
So if you've got your hand, if your hands aren't perfectly clean, you're touching these wipes, putting them back in the warmer, it could actually be like,
okay,
not
so just
not
slap
great.
them with the wet one.
They've just got to deal with it. I mean, there's so many, and then you've got these products like silk bassinet sheets.
Oh wow! I bought my first silk pillowcase like last year.
Yeah,
like I'm not sure, and like they're expensive.
They're so expensive, and this is to stop your baby getting a bald spot.
Yeah,
because God forbid your baby is not perfectly Instagrammable at all times. And so there's just this constant barrage of things being like, oh my gosh, do I need to do this? If I don't buy this, am I the worst mother in the whole world? Yeah.
Just speaking of baby photos online, obviously you have the mummy influencers who are well and truly their content is about waking up and waking the child up and what they feed them. And so they're very much playing out their lives online. How do you manage that now, having 2 young children, being in the public eye, that debate about how much do you share and how much do you keep private?
Yeah, it is one of those things where it feels like the stakes are so high. I'd love to share pictures of my babies. I believe they're extremely cute and I could make some great content with them. But you have to think about their privacy and what AI is, scraping and what that's going to be used for, and if they have, if they're able to consent to have things online. So I do try to keep them off, but every now and then I'll crack. I'm like, look how cute he is. I can't keep this cute picture to myself. I'm only human.
And cute and blonde.
Extremely blonde. Yes, I know. They're the blondest Chinese boys that have ever lived. And Ham, who I do the podcast with, her baby is ridiculously cute. And I think it takes every ounce of her willpower not to post that baby. I think who really cops it are the family WhatsApps. Because I don't get that release through Instagram. So my poor, brother and sister have to get like 6 photos a day of my kids.
Yeah.
One thing that we talked about recently, which was a huge revelation for me, I was talking to Ham about how I actually have more photos of my second child than my first.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's weird, because I thought everyone always said the second child always gets forgotten in photos. And I sort of looked at it, still thousands of photos.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we realized there was more. And I was like, oh, that's so strange. And then Hum absolutely roasted me legitimately and said, I think I know why. It's because your second child looks more like you.
Oh, it does it?
He totally does. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm such a narcissist. I was like, oh, what is it about this baby that is so cute to me? Oh, I'll never figure it out. So, yeah, it's a wild world. And I think, everyone just has to, it's different for everyone and the situation that they're in. I think because I have a bit of a public profile, I try and keep them a bit private.
Yeah.
But I feel the urge every day. If you're posting your kids, I get it. Go for it.
I know that there's a lot of mum-fluencers. There's that resurgence of trad wives who are sharing lots of content, making everything look so easy. They look very glamorous. Their houses are perfectly clean, and they're making strawberry jam from scratch. At the same time, maybe it's just my algorithm, there is also a lot of satirical shit about trad wives or mum-fluencers, or how hard it is to be a parent, or how annoying your children are, and how there are days that you just hate them. Is that just my feed, or are you seeing that stuff too? Are you just being guilted and made to feel inadequate? Or
Oh no, I get the funny stuff too. Yeah,
okay.
thank goodness. Yeah, there's some great people out there doing some really really funny stuff. And it does, it's not all terrible. Like some of it makes you go, just anything that makes you feel a little bit less alone and be like, oh, thank God I'm not the only one who's doing that. But it's just such a big mix. And I think, the algorithm's so good at serving you stuff that makes you feel so angry.
Yeah.
So, you'll just hover on a trad wife for just 1 second and then suddenly, she's in your feed telling you that you're ruining your child by exposing them to toxins.
Yeah.
And that they should be out, going outdoors in nature and doing messy play. And the thing that drives me insane about that is that all these mum-fluencers live in the most gigantic houses you've ever seen. They've got these huge backyards. I'm like, I would love to do screen-free, muddy play with my child, but I live in an apartment and that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, at least you tip the pot plant over and just have them.
Yeah, I'm not going to set up this sensory table with shaving cream and food dye because. And I know.
I just got nervous.
And sand. I'm like, I'm not going to do that because I know he's going to play with it for 2 minutes and then wander off and stomp it all through my house. And I'm going to be on who ends up cleaning it. And I'm not even getting content out of it. So what's the point?
Content out of it. It's not worth cleaning if I'm not filming it and sharing it. Yeah, it's really tough. And I guess it's really isolating and hard, particularly when the children are young and you're spending a lot of time at home.
Yeah. And it is sort of insidious as well. Like the thing I've noticed, like it's not like there's people out there scolding you and saying like, you're doing a bad job. Like overwhelmingly, on the surface, the influencers are going like, you got this mama. Every mama's a superhero no matter what you're doing to get through the day. But then at the same time, there's sort of putting forward these ideal lives of ways you should be doing things. I came across one the other day and it was the voiceover was this lady talking about the mental load of being a mother and how you're the one who's always thinking about, what's in the fridge, what are they going to have when they come home for a snack, what are they going to buy, what are you going to buy for the birthday present for the kid on the weekend or whatever it is. And as the mother, you're carrying this mental load that very often in heterosexual partnerships the man isn't doing. And I was like, yes, that's so true. That's great that this is being said. But at the same time, she was making this lunchbox, which was the most elaborate thing I'd ever seen. It was like tiny little perfectly cut soldiers. She had a little device that was cutting out a little smiley face with the little holes and a tiny little, smile and perfectly placed broccoli and all these tiny little things using all these devices that I don't have.
Yeah.
I simply do not have the means to make these elaborate sandwiches. And I'm just thinking, if you're going to talk about the mental load on mums, you're really not helping by make me feeling guilty that I'm not making a perfectly curated little artwork.
And let's be honest, the little shit's probably just going to chuck it on the floor anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not like children
Nobody
see
feels
or
that
appreciate effort.
They just
That's
the majority
So
of
who is this for? Except for making me feel bad, so I go to your Amazon storefront and buy the little sandwich maker that you're shilling. Like it's just it is such a sort of, it really does your head in. Yeah.
Well, I'm always keen to know what's making comedians laugh or bringing you joy. So what is it at the moment that you're watching or doing?
Yeah, I do have another podcast, which is a live comedy show, which I absolutely love. It's a Dungeons and Dragons live comedy show. I've been doing it for nearly a decade with friends of mine who are comedians, and we do that in front of an audience every month at the Vanguard Theatre. And yeah, that brings me joy. There's something so wonderful about working with people who you know really, really well, who you can say anything to. You can throw the ball and you know that they're going to catch it, and have 8 people on stage and you're all in sync with each other. It's pretty magical, and I really, really love doing that.
I love that, and has no babies.
No babies, no.
No references to babies.
Fantasy world, yes. Yeah, and it's hard to catch up with your friends. It's really nice to know, like, at least I'm going to see 8 of them every month on stage.
I love that. Thank you so much for your time, Alex.
Thanks, Antoinette. It's been great.